Hi there YouTube, this is Daniel back again with another YouTube video. This time it's the monthly haul video of comic books. This month I picked up the most comic books I've ever picked up. Ever. This is the stack right there. There's 19 books in total. There are some back issues sprinkled in here. But since there are so many, for me this is many. I'll probably try to keep short with my thoughts on each book, which I usually do. Usually give you some sort of mini review about the book I picked up. But to save some time, let's just jump right into the haul itself. The first book, Reborn by Mark Millar and Greg Capullo. I really love the artwork. It's really awesome to look at. But this miniseries of 6 issues, I don't really know how they are gonna tie everything together, or if they are gonna leave the ending like an open ending for it to become like a continuation later on. But it's two more issues, and I'm not really happy with how they resolved some problems or some events in this issue. And I want to know what happened to Roy Boy. He was thrown out over us like a cliff or something, and really don't know what happened to him. Did he die? Or what happened? I don't know. Do you know? Hawkeye issue 2. I like the series so far. It's a fun, character-driven series, very down-to-earth, low-key, and I kinda like Kate Bishop as Hawkeye. Keep in mind, I haven't read any Hawkeye other than the Mark Millar and David Hitch, Ultimate 2 and Ultimate, but I am going to read Matt Fraction's and David Asha's run on Hawkeye as well, but so far I really like the series and can't wait to see where they're going with this. Curse Words number 1, new fresh release here in January. I did not put this on my pull list before the release. My comic book shop had it in stock when I went to pick some other books up, so I figured why not just try it out. It's a kind of fun read, but I'm not really sure if I'm gonna like it in the long run, but I decided to pick it up and put it on my pull list. So I'll pick the next couple of issues up and see if I'm gonna like it continuing from this one. Odyssey of the Amazons, 1 out of 6. I did not like this issue too much, but the premise was promising, but how they carried the story out was not satisfying. It was very I don't know how to explain it, but the narration was very heavy, and there was so many characters thrown at you at once, so you couldn't really you didn't really remember them all, and when half of them basically got taken or kidnapped or whatever, you didn't really care, even though you were supposed to. So yeah, I wasn't really happy with this. The artwork is nice though, but the storytelling wasn't where I was thinking they were going with this. The Mighty Captain Marvel number 1. I am a bit more happy with this one than the 0 issue of this series. This was a bit more satisfying story-wise, and the artwork was nice enough, but I'm not really too convinced yet. But I'm gonna give it the first 4 issues and then see if I'm gonna continue after that. That's probably the extent of the first story arc. But since I don't know what happened in Civil War 2 and stuff like that, and the Zero issue didn't really dive into that and explain what happened in a good way, I'm not really sure, and I'm not really sure if I care enough to continue this. But yeah, at least the first 4 issues and see where we're going after that. Kill or Be Killed issue 5. Here is a series I really love. I'm gonna stick to this throughout the entire run. Apparently, at the back of this issue, Ed Brubaker answered one of the fan questions who asked if they had like a long storyline planned, or if it's like a 12 issue series or 16 issues, or if if he has the whole plot planned out. It wasn't really planned. It isn't really planned out, but he thinks it can go on and become the longest running series these two have collaborated on before. So that means about 25, 30, 35 issues maybe. If they go on that long, if they can keep the story interesting long enough, I'm there. But yeah, if you haven't read this, pick the trade up and start from issue 5 after reading the trade. You're gonna love it. Invincible Iron Man number 3. This was a bit more happy or lighter in tone than the previous 2 issues. The previous 2 issues have been more focused on developing Riri Williams' character. But in this issue, you got to see more Tony Stark, even though he's a hologram, and they widened the cast of characters. So now you got to see, what's her name? Can't remember. Pepper Potts. You got to see that holographic helper Friday, and Mary Jane as his former assistant, and Tony's biological mother. There were some funny scenes with those 3, and with Pepper Potts as well. And it ended with somewhat of a cliffhanger. Their armors basically just, I won't tell you. You have to read it. I'm enjoying this series a lot, so I'm continuing reading. I will continue having this on my pull list for a while longer at least. Black Hammer issue 1. This is written by Jeff Lemire and drawn by Dean Armstrong. I really enjoyed this. I have heard so many great things about this series, and I saw this in the back issue bin at my LCS and just figured, why not try it and see if I like it or not. And of course I had to pick up issue 2 as well. So I read these 2 and really enjoyed reading the series. So I figured, why not put it on my pull list if I can get the rest of the series. And sure enough, they are being sent to me or to my LCS. So I'll just have to wait a few weeks and then I'll get caught up before the next issue in March. Supergirl Being Super, miniseries by Mariko Tamaki and Joelle Jones. The reason I got this was because of Joelle Jones's artwork. I really love her artwork, and I enjoyed the story. I understand that this is catered to another audience, and I'm not really the target group here. But I enjoyed it all in all, and this issue ended with a sort of earth-shattering event. So it's gonna be interesting to see where they are going with this. And this is a sort of maxi series, so it's 48 pages, story, no ads, and square bound. So it's a prestige format, and yeah, I really like this mini trade format. So yeah, happy to have it, and I'll definitely pick up the rest in this series. The Few. Issue 1, another new release from Image this month. There were a lot of new releases actually, but this was one of those I decided I wanted to try out. And this is a maxi series. It's 48 pages of story, no ads, and some people have had trouble with the artwork. I found it okay. It wasn't really that distinctive in showing you the characters. Most of the supporting characters were not rendered really distinctively, but the main cast of characters are distinguishable at least, but it's really scratchy, almost like charcoal on paper, kind of scratchy. I enjoyed it. I do like this story as well. It's a really interesting apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic type setting. So I'm intrigued to see where they're going with this. I'll probably pick up at least 2 or 3 more issues before I decide if I'm gonna drop it or not. Hellboy Winter Special 2017. This is basically a anthology issue, 3 short stories set in the Hellboy universe in different timelines. So yeah, I enjoyed reading this. I do enjoy reading Hellboy. I had the opportunity to borrow the first library edition from a friend, and I just flew through that book, loved every page of it, and decided to just, why not try this Hellboy issue, like a annual or something like that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't really something profound or something really excellent, but it was nice. 2 nice Hellboy stories and another Hellboy-esque story as well, set in the Hellboy universe. Trinity issue 5. This made it to the top of my list at when I had the opportunity to visit the Comic Board's live chat. I really enjoy Trinity. It's a fantastic story. Francis Manapul on art and story is just a match made in heaven. He really knows how to develop a story and how to draw these characters. In this issue, things are starting to fall into place in the story. So yeah, I really enjoyed reading this, and I can't wait to see the conclusion of this storyline in the next issue. Or if it's gonna continue after that, I'm not really sure, but it kind of feels like it's a good place to tie everything together and develop the next story arc in issue 7. But I'm a bit worried that Francis Manapul is not going to be on the writing duties on issue 8, and I haven't seen any news about issue 9 yet, but yeah, I'm a bit worried there, but probably it's probably gonna be fine. Francis Manapul must have planned like the first year at least before taking a break. Mosaic number 1. I really liked this story. It's a very fractured, very chaotic storytelling in this, but it fits as Mosaic, the the character we're going to follow in the series, he basically gets his powers and he doesn't understand what's happening. So the way they're telling the story is basically showing us how he is dealing with his newfound powers and what's happening to him. And in issue 2, things slow down a bit as he gets more centered and understands his power more. And there are some side effects to this power he gets from being an inhuman. And in issue 3, there are some secrets revealed about the people close to him, and that is really interesting to see as well. Developing his character a bit. It's still this a bit fractured storytelling, but it's getting more and more, makes more and more sense, and it stays like follows a thread more and more. And it ends with him trying to get into Spider-Man's mind, so to say, take over his body. In issue 4, it basically takes place in Spider-Man's head as Mosaic is trying to get control over Spider-Man's body, and Spider-Man, or Peter Parker, he has like a super fast mind, and Mosaic can't really keep up, and he has this defense mechanism developed. Spider-Man, he has been taken over so many times, so he has like prepared himself for the event of eventually being taken over. So he calls it, or Mosaic calls it like antibodies or something like that. But it's a really good issue, and it's a really interesting story. It's interesting character, and I'm really not sure if he's gonna stay a good guy or if he's gonna turn into a villain. He would fit really well as a villain, but it could be cool to have him as a hero as well. So yeah, I'll put this on my pull list, and I'm gonna stick this for a few more issues to see if the story develops in a way I like it to. Hulk issue 2. This is a slow story, slow series, very character-driven series. I like those type of stories, so I enjoyed this issue. But I know people are having trouble with a Hulk series being this slow and no one turning into the Hulk and stuff like that. But I enjoyed it, and I'm intrigued to know what's happening with one of the clients she is helping at her law firm where she works. But throughout the first and now the second issue, she's been dealing with like post-traumatic stress and about hulking out basically. So I really enjoy this, and I'm intrigued to see where they're going with this. I think I know, but it ends with like a sort of cliffhanger. You're left to wonder what happened there and who is that and stuff like that. So they are widening the story a bit at the end of this issue. The last issue for the haul is Frostbite issue 5. This is probably the favorite book I picked up in January, just because of the artwork. I adore the artwork in this series. I think the story is good as well, but it's not perfect. I'm not sure how they are gonna tie everything together in the last issue, if it's gonna be longer or if it's just gonna be the same 32 pages. But I am really looking forward to see where they are going to end this series, or if it's going to be open-ended to allow continuations further on. But this one is going to be really interesting to see how they are gonna end it. But the action sequences in this series are really awesome, and the artwork. But they haven't really had a great villain in the series, so it's basically been like each issue has had their own villain, except for issue 4 and 5 now, and probably 6. But yeah, we'll see where they are going with this. Yeah, so that's the comic books I picked up in January. I've picked up some more back issues, but I haven't gone through them yet, and I'll probably put a separate video out for that. So thank you for watching, and if you have any questions about these books, if you want to see a review on some of these series, or if you have any suggestions for other books to pick up, just leave me a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And until next time, bye bye.